Welcome to another My Outlander Purgatory recap. This week, we continue our Season 6 coverage with a recap of Episode 705, Singapore. Ready? Then pour yourself a wee dram, settle in, and let's do this. Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
I'm Tracey.
I'm Carol.
And we are My
Outlander
Purgatory. Carol, how are you this evening?
Oh, Tracey, I'm tired.
It's your long week.
How are you?
I'm tired too. It's hot here, and I think the heat really kind of sort of makes us sleepy, you know. And I actually did not have the air conditioning on in here all day today. And surprisingly, I was not overly hot. But when we do these, we drink a little of this, and we gab and gab and gab, and there you go.
Yes.
So, what are you drinking this evening besides water, which is boring?
I am drinking my little Matua. Sometimes old habits are hard to break. And I have no idea what the temperature was here today because I have been in Philadelphia for the past 3 days at Thomas Jefferson University at orientation, and it was awesome. And they run a mean orientation. So forgive me if I look a little tired. I keep trying to hold my eyes open, and I've got my stickers on. So
forgive her if she goes like this.
Oh my God, you guys, seriously, honest to God, momming is a very tiring task.
What did you do this week when you were away and you had no material? Did you bring her on?
No, Tuesday night I was out at a place called something Farmers Fresh or something, I don't know, in King of Prussia, and they had a really nice, didn't you see my text? They had a really nice Sauvignon Blanc from a winery in the Lehigh Valley, but it was really, really good. And last night in the hotel, I just ordered a Sauvignon Blanc. I didn't even care what it was. I was done, and the kids were doing whatever, and I was like, bye, I'm going back to the hotel. And I walked in and I was like, wine me now. So I don't know what I had, but yeah.
But look at you branching out. That is very good.
Yourself, Tracey?
I'm having a white. I'm pretty sure this is Wine Club wine. It's called Donkey and Goat. And it is California wine, but I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see what kind of wine it is. It's California white wine. And it's made from sustainably farmed vineyards. So I really couldn't tell you much more than that. It's pretty good. Not gonna complain. So slangeva, up your kill, as they say. So yeah, I guess we should get to this episode. Give me overall what you think about this episode before we even start.
This was the most bizarre episode of all the Outlander episodes of my life. Honest to God, it was some parts I kept looking at my phone, let's be honest, a little ADHD. So I'd be and then be like, oh, what am I doing? I got to go back. And then other times I was typing in caps. Oh my God, I can't believe this is the greatest episode ever. I mean, my brain went this way. My brain went that way. And yourself?
I'm really glad I asked you that because this episode was it's not like I didn't like it because I did. And I think this season is really good, and there hasn't been a clunker in this entire season. But it was I think that the purpose of this episode was to get us to the next place. So I feel like in some ways this episode was kind of bridge to the next kind of stuff we're going to be seeing. And there were parts of this episode that were really over the top, and we'll get to it, but not necessarily in a good way. It just
Yes, we will get to it, Tracey. We will.
All right,
to it.
Let's get to it, shall we?
Mhm.
This episode was called, it's 7:05 and it's called Singapore. And it's kind of a weird title for me because like normally the titles have a little more meaning. Singapore is just like basically an aside that Claire gives Jamie, I guess. I don't even remember what it's supposed to explain. So it was just kind of
World War
weird.
II. She explains it in the.
Oh, yeah. But it wasn't even like, she's like, okay, it's exactly like World War II, except the opposite.
Yeah, it's exactly the same, only the antithesis.
Only it's totally not.
It was, although in my language, it sort of made sense because that's something I would probably say. So I was like, Claire, what the hell are you talking? Okay.
Okay, yeah, I get it. Okay. Our writer is Taylor Mallory, and our director is Tracey with an E. Dear. Good girl, Tracey with an E. Your mommy leaves you. Wow. Yes, first thing I wrote down, this is a rather over the top episode. Okay. So did you notice? I feel like you said this last week. You were like, does the starting have some new things in it? Like, did you ask that last week? And I don't think
it was the week before.
I think you were channeling this. No, it was no. Because I went back and I looked at last week. I didn't look the week before, but last week was the same as it still had the Bree and Roger in the past part.
Mm-hmm.
This week, all that's gone, and now we're seeing Bree and Roger in present day.
Okay, so you know what's so funny? When that started, sing me a song. When Sinead, not making fun, because you know it's Sinead, you cannot. When it started, I literally said to myself, you know, I should watch this. You never know if they might put something in. And I went, oh, knock it off. They're not going to put anything new in now in the middle of the season. And now you're telling me I should have watched it.
Oh, so you didn't watch it this week?
I am a giant fast forwarder. When it's the same starting every week on, I don't mean on Outlander, but any show, I'm a giant, all right, I don't have time to sit here and watch this.
And you know what? That's a really good point because I think I do that too. And it's one of the reasons why I went back and I watched season 4 of 704 again. And the only reason I watched this one is because there was no cold open. It's our first one, our first episode.
They just started with it. I'm like, oh boy.
Right. Because technically, this was supposed to be the first episode of season 7. Which would have been really bad. Like that would have been this is not a good first episode of any season. This is a good
overall, this packed some punches, but overall it was not.
Yeah, no. This would not have been a like knock your socks off. Right. I'm ready to watch this season episode at all. Right. So that was a good decision in hindsight. But yeah, that's why I noticed it because I was like not prepared to fast forward anything. So I was like, oh, and then I was just like, oh, I'll just do something else. Wait, that's really different. So I like it. And it makes sense because we are like on like tracking along 2 parallel stories now. As we talked about a little bit last week. So there you go. And the only thing, and see again, you need to go back and watch this if you haven't watched it. I'm way more in on the trailer because like you see it from different angles this week and it's much bigger than it looked like. But B, in the starting, they showed at night and there's like super cute lights on it. And, you know, it's kind of like a cute color. It is 100%. I don't know if you guys have this here where you live, but I mean, it's not like during the pandemic, one big thing around where I live was that people would make garage bars.
Oh, and yeah.
You basically like would turn your garage, or like if you had a shed, maybe you do it there. You'd turn it into a bar and you'd invite the neighbor. I mean, this was probably like, you know, somewhat after the start of the pandemic when we were like getting together, but we still sort of had to stay outside. And you invite your neighbors over and, you know, you'd stock the bar. Maybe you'd have a keg, you know, whatever. But it was like a little bar in your yard. And that totally was like, I was like, oh my God, look at Bree and Roger getting themselves a garage bar. Cutest thing. I loved it. Or like maybe it's Bree's she shed, you know, but like just the lights. I was like, I'm sold.
Totally cute, but no, you couldn't do garage bars down here.
Okay, so our Easter egg, goats on a mountainside. Are you like, I don't know what that means?
No, I watched it. I moved right past it.
Well, what does it signify?
I don't know. What is this, a test?
What? The Easter egg always means something.
What does it signify? You tell them.
Well, I don't know. That's what I said. What does it signify? I don't know what it means.
Oh, you said
I
goats.
have an idea.
You said goats on the mountainside. I made a goat noise.
I know, but like they show some goats on a mountainside and then they sort of pan back. And I was like, okay, guess we'll see what that means. The only thing I can think of, and you guys tell us in the comments because it went over my head and I really had to think about this, is that like showing how steep that this hill was that they're supposed to get the cannon on?
Oh, that's
like, but that's a real, I mean, like, you know, French general was right. Frenchie, as I call him, as you'll find out later, Pepe Le Pew. You know, Pepe, spoiler alert, Pepe Le Pew was right. Like, you're not getting a cannon up that kill of goats. It's like a mountain cliff.
It reminded me of Edinburgh Castle. Like, that was the whole defense, was that they were up so high and people couldn't get up there.
I mean, like, is somebody a goat in this episode? Is somebody like a patsy? You know, that's the old, but then there's also another meaning for goat now, which is greatest of all time. Someone the greatest of all time here? All right, so here we go. So we are in the present. We're at Lallybroch. Bree's walking around. She hears voices coming out of the graveyard. Voices from the beyond. Except they're not really from the beyond. They're Mandy and Jam, and they're just running around.
Bree was
in a graveyard
emotional.
as children are wont to do, because graveyards are really cool and fun.
Graveyards rock. And Bree was a little emotional in this episode, I will say, more than usual.
Yes, Bree was like,
maybe she was on her period.
It was that time of the month.
It's
that time of the month. So yeah, Bree doesn't want them playing in the graveyard. I told you not to play in the graveyard, Mandy and Jam. And Jam's like, well, Mandy wanted to talk to Granddaughter. And Bree's like, yeah, can't deal. Let's go. Jam, oh my God. As we've already made the point, he looks like Stephen Bonnet. B, go ahead.
He looks like Keelan's prom date, Kevin, who's adorable when he was little. And he looks a little like Charlie from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
I would agree, except Charlie from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory has a better haircut. Like, he's got one of those, like, Andrew Keaton bowl haircuts.
He definitely has the bowl.
Not good. Like, not good.
For his age, the late 70s. As somebody on the comments the other day said, it was Scotland. It's not the United States. So maybe they were a little bit different than we were fashion and hair-wise.
Could be. But then he's also, everybody's all like, oh, you know, Jam, he lies. He's lying about that. Oh, yeah. It's just another thing that he's like, lying about this.
Oh, God, I hate it because all the poor kid says anymore is, that wasn't me. That wasn't me. I'm like, oh, my God, would somebody believe this child is too cute to lie?
I know, but they're all convinced of it. But it just, when one looks as much like Stephen Bonnet as Jam does, it has me a little worried. Here.
Hasn't that been tied up already?
I don't know.
Or did I make that up in my head? You guys, there's what happened in the book, what happened in the show, and what I told myself months or years ago, because I wanted to change the ending or change the way it is. And so like I sometimes put my own thoughts into that.
I mean, I know it's tied up in the book. Like, the book, it's done. But the show is the show and the book is the book.
You never know what's coming around that Outlander corner on Starz.
So yeah, so Bree is all sad. She's feeling, she's feeling the loss.
Okay, I gotta
And
interrupt you for a second. When
what?
he's like, Mandy's talking to Da. If you were Bree, instead of like reprimanding them, wouldn't you be like, Mandy, get into this graveyard right now and tell me what Da's saying?
Jem, go get the Ouija board. Bring it in here.
Jem, you take notes. We don't even need the Ouija. Mandy talks to Da. Just let's go.
I mean, has Bree like put two and two together yet about that though? That like, I mean, first of all, is Mandy talking to Da or talking to Da? You know,
I don't know.
Either
way, here we go again. It reminds me of Claire coming back through the stones and not racing to the history books, which was touched on in this episode as well.
Yes.
If it were me, I would have been racing to the history books. So if Mandy is saying anything, one word, go. I'd be like, all right, what else?
See, but like, would you? That's the thing. I mean, don't forget, okay, Roger is a historian, right? He's a historian. He's an academic. Of course, he's going to be all salivating, like, let's look at the books. Let's look at the books. Oh, yeah. But Bree grew up with a historian father and for a good time was a historian major herself. Right. So it's not like she wouldn't be curious about it, but because in the moment, like maybe she would have predicted like, oh, well, we will go back there and I'll just like look in all the books, whatever. But when it comes right down to it, she doesn't want to know. So I give her that. Like, you can't say how you're going to feel when you go forward in time,
right?
200 years. You can't say how you're going to feel about like, should you look up your mom and dad and what happens to them?
I would have to know. I think it depends on the type of person you are. It's sort of like wanting to know if you're pregnant, wanting to know if it's a girl or a boy. Some people are adamant they do not want to know. I was like, I want to know right now. Like some people just have to know.
Why did you want to know? Like to plan or?
No, I just had to know. It was going on in here. I had to know. I had to know what was happening, what was cooking. I had to know. I'm somebody who wants to know.
I've never had a baby, but I've always thought like I would not want to know. And the reason is that like that's the little surprise that keeps you going. So when you're like, oh, I can't anymore, I can't do it. Everybody will be like,
see, that's cute. That's cute. I was not like that. I'm someone who likes to know, but that's really cute. So everyone's different. So you are 100% right. Personally, I am thinking to myself, oh, who are we kidding? Roger, it's probably when Bree is out. When Bree is out bringing home the bacon.
Frying it up in a pan.
Yeah, Roger, before he fries it up in pan, Roger is like, probably like, oh, don't worry, I won't look. Like checking out the books to see what the heck. And then if he finds something good, maybe he can tell her, all right, it's no bad.
All right. So they decide they're going to read another letter, and they're like, so they open it up, and they're reading about Jamie and Claire being in Fort Ticonderoga, and they're like, huh? Weren't they in Scotland? Like, what?
Yeah. And poor Bree, she was great in that scene too, I have to say.
Yes.
She gave me the feels.
No, she really was. So yeah, Jamie is reinforcing the fort. We sort of transition over to the past and Fort Ticonderoga.
A lot of that in this episode. Did you notice the segues were very interesting?
Well, yes, and we're gonna have to do that now because, like we said, it's two parallel storylines now. Like we can't cross the streams anymore. That's the only way we can cross the streams are these transitions, from in there. So yeah, they're gonna have to do that in some way. Like, and to your point, like it's not, it's more interesting to kind of connect them in some way than to just be like, oh, Roger, what should we do today? I don't know. Cut. Oh, Jamie, everyone at Fort Ticonderoga is stupid and I hate them. I know, Claire, right? Because that's coming. So Jamie is fortifying, reinforcing the fort, and Claire is helping the sick, as she wants to do.
And
Ian has arrived as well. Jamie's looking fine.
Damn.
And yeah, I mean, at this point, I think this, well, I always like watch it and then watch it again and read my notes. But I just had to be like, this is the theme of this episode. Jamie and Claire are the only people with sense in the whole American Revolution.
Oh my God. I was just ready to punch someone. We'll get into that. But also I had to laugh at am I correct that he was saying the irregulars?
I thought it was the regulators. The regulators?
See, this is what I don't get. Because the regulators were the ones from like books past that would like check up on them, I thought. I don't know. I thought he was saying irregulars, and that's what I was saying to myself. Wait, regulators? And then I just had to laugh because I'm like, does Jamie need parrots? Is he irregular? So you guys, I know like so many people, if I'm wrong, are going to be like, no, it's the regulators. I don't know. I just thought it was funny. Sometimes I
think irregulars are better, and because Jamie would be really annoyed to be an irregular because
sometimes I think something's funny and then I zero in on what I think is funny, regardless of what if it's really being said or not.
Yeah. Okay. So they're the only people with sense, and like I guess that's one of the things with this episode. Like, is it me, or did this episode make the people who aren't Jamie and Claire look even more stupid than they already were?
Oh, everyone's stupid except Jamie, Claire, and Bree. That's it. Everyone else is stupid.
And I'll throw in Ian and the Hunters here as well. Like, but it just like from that scene, maybe it's just me, but okay. So we see Jamie in the big, war council.
All right, hang on a minute. Because did that happen before or after Bree actually read the letter, which is what I found very sad, and she was very good.
I don't remember. I mean, I think they were going back and forth with it a little bit. She's like, you hear Claire's voiceover with the letter. I don't know. Yeah, so Bree was very good. I don't think we got like deep into like reading the letter and being like, oh my God, Roger, what do you think they mean by this? And what do you think they did with that? And what did that? And what does the goat mean? And what is that? Right. You didn't get like that much.
I have that. Are you talking about Bree with the letter?
Yeah.
I felt that in the books, I don't know. I promised myself I wasn't going to say in the books. But I felt like they were kind of like happy at Lallybroch much more. And maybe it's just because it's like just getting into them being at Lallybroch. But I was like, my God. She said, what are you doing?
Nothing. There's like sediment in my wine.
In white wine?
Yeah, it's really weird.
You sure it's not like a bug?
I feel like it's almost like peel of a fruit or something. I don't know. I don't have to drink around it.
All I know is that Bree being so sad and everything. I don't know. I loved it. I found it and I enjoyed it, but I was like, wow, like I just remember them sort of being happy. I don't know. So keep going. So Jamie's in front of the council. I don't know where this is, but I don't have it written down anywhere around here.
Okay, so it's right after they're reading the letter. Okay. And Claire's like, I'm healing the sick and Ian's back and Jamie's doing this and whatever. Then they're all in like their little war council. And Pepe Le Pew, General Pepe Le Pew.
Is he even French?
Okay, I have a lot to say about this.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, because I don't want to like bash on the actor. Okay,
I'm not.
But he did that French accent was like. It's like me doing French accent. I said to myself, if this fellow is French, then I'll eat my hat and I will be. I did look him up and he is French. He's French American. He was born in the US, but like his family is from France and he spent summers in France. But that doesn't necessarily give you a French accent. This is this is one thing that, and I mean, again, I don't want to because it sounds like I'm ranking on the kid and I'm not. Right. Any Scottish kid that you cast, any Scottish 6-year-old is going to have he's going to rock an accent.
Right.
I just don't think that Jem's accent would be so pronounced. Because in the past, yes, he was surrounded by a lot of Scots, but he was also surrounded by
Oh.
Bree, and he was also surrounded by Granny, and he was
Right.
also surrounded by like, you know, kids who didn't really have an accent at that point.
He's never, other than Lallybroch modern day, he didn't really grow up in Scotland.
Right, exactly.
And even though there were much more prevalent accents back then, just listen to Seth Numrich's Bent Homage in Turn Washington Spies, because it's an amazing sort of accent, but turning into more of American. Not that whatever.
It's the way it is. It's you when you have to cast a child actor in Scotland, you're gonna get a kid.
Yes.
You're going for like the kid who can act. You're not worried about the accent.
Suspend disbelief.
Totally get it. But that doesn't remove that he's got the biggest honking accent of anybody living in Lallybroch right now. But it's all good. Okay. So do you remember this part where, you know, so they're at Fort Ticonderoga, they're in like the, you know, meeting room or whatever, and General Pepe Le Pew is all like, so commanders, tell me, you know, Colonel FRAY-zer, what do you know? Like, what do you know? I'm bad. I'm telling you, bad French accent.
The Pink Panther.
But it was just, yeah. But I don't know. And again, the actor was fine, and I just felt like the actor was directed to just be over the top. He was really over the top. This guy, this French guy.
He was
really over the top.
He was reminding me of somebody, and I feel like it was a cartoon character.
Pepe Le Pew.
No, not Pepe Le Pew.
No, Pepe Le Pew is the one that kisses your hand. So he's got the accent, but no, I know what you mean. It's like he's you know, you must pay the rent. Like
maybe the guy from The Patriot, only his accent was really good.
Oh, Lafayette.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like even the Lafayette in Hamilton is like, you know, like a more like, you know,
I do feel
calm down accent. Yeah, I mean, is he from France? Like, or is he just French but lives in America now? It was just.
I do feel like you're right about when you're like, it's maybe they did it over the top. Maybe he was directed to do that because he had to be the bad guy. So like, you
exactly.
know, yeah.
Well, let's talk about this for a minute, because you guys, it's taking me like 2 hours per rewatch now, because I'm not just rewatching it and, you know, maybe turning to the book once or twice if I forget something. Remember, I don't remember this book now. So there's that. So I have to like look at everything, because God forbid I say this didn't happen in the books, or Diana would never do this when it's right from the books. That's number one. But now number two, we have all of this stuff that really happened that's historically accurate or historical, you know, there's evidence of it. So if I'm bothered by something, I'm like, who the hell is this French guy and why is he here? I'm gonna look him up. So I will have you know that this French guy, his name, oh good Lord. I don't even think I wrote it. Did I write it down? I'm not sure I wrote it down. I think it's like General Formé or something. He at one point mentions General St. Clair. That is the real general at Fort Ticonderoga. And in fact, we do see him at the very end where he's ripping everyone a new one for being such idiots, except for Jamie, because Jamie was the smart one. But Pepe Le Pew gets yelled at by the St. Clair.
And not that so Pepe would admit that Jamie was the smart one.
Right, exactly. So I'm like, why do we even need Pepe? And I think we did. And here's why. For whatever reason, and I feel like Pepe is in the books, but not in this part, very like even a smaller, not necessarily an important, you know, general. I didn't have time to like really look it up, whatever. But as part of the scene, Pepe Le Pew ranks on the Highlanders. Do you remember this?
Yes.
Jamie's all like, okay, we have a problem. Our defenses are weak and they can get through, and they're going to get through by like climbing up, Mount Sugarloaf Hill with, and Pepe's all like, oh, you are ridiculous. They will not bring it down up there. And Jamie's like, yeah. A bunch of Highlanders could 100% do it. And then they wanted the person in position of authority to rank on the Highlanders. Well, General St. Clair, the real general, this is all like on Google, so was a Scot. So for General St. Clair to be all like, I can't do Scottish accent at all, but like, Highlanders suck. I mean, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. Now, do you need to diss Highlanders? That's another argument that you can make, certainly. But neither do you want them to be like, that's a great idea, Jamie. Like, get some guys up there, because then you lose your conflict. So it just was all sort of laid out and kind of I think it could have been a more elegant solution to this problem.
And forgive me once again, I'm looking this way and I'm listening to what you're saying and I'm looking for my notes that I'm not finding. I was not bothered, but that's why I'm asking about FRAY-zer's regulators or irregulars or whatever the hell, because there were the FRAY-zer's Highlanders. And they were loyalists. They were fighting for the crown.
Well, don't forget who we learn is one of the generals of the red Fox. Side is Simon. Simon FRAY-zer, not the actual Fox.
Yes, not the Fox, but his cousin, right. The Fox's son's.
But that's the point that Jamie's making. That you don't think that the British can get up there? Yeah, because
you're a dumbass.
You can throw a couple of Highlanders up there and they'll do it.
I guess because he was French, he didn't get it, and nothing against the French, but although France and Scotland had such a connection, so I don't really understand. I was just going to say the Brits would know. You know what I mean? They would absolutely know the Highlanders can do it. But yeah, I don't know. Let's move on.
Maybe Pepe is mad about the French gold. Maybe Pepe wants the French gold back because, those bloody Highlanders stole it. I don't know. The point of this all is Pepe, in my mind, was just a little bit like, here's the top, here's Pepe, and
yeah.
It made the scene like, we're always talking about adding humor to the show. Well, it was funny, but not maybe for the right reasons. All right, we ready to move on? We're ready to get on the road with William and the Hunters.
I've been ready to move on for like 7 or 8 minutes.
Okay. So the Hunters and William are on the road. I loved this whole scene. Loved it. I'm a sucker for characters on horseback having philosophical discussions. This was that. They're talking about like, is it, what do you think of like killing or hurting someone if it's self-defense? And the Hunters are like, nope. That's you do whatever God what is up for. And William's like, well, what do you mean? Like, no.
William's like F Timmy.
And I love him so much. I mean, again, like hits out of the park. Charles Vandervoort out of the park because he's making William. You get the like snootiness, but you get like friendliness as well, and he's amiable, and he's he's likable. He's a likable guy. TV William. Yeah, they were just so good. What do you have anything specific?
Not about that scene.
Yeah, so they come across a guy and the guy's like, oh, sorry, you're on the wrong road, but you can stay at our house.
Didn't like, first of all, here we go again with the stuff I don't remember from the books, because I'm like, oh my God, the minute they show that guy, I'm like, this guy's up to no good.
Yeah, this is all from the books.
Yeah, because then once we got into it, I was like, okay,
Yeah, this is all from the books. Okay, so we go to the guy's house. Now, here comes over the top number 2. that I just was like, really? So they sit down at dinner and we see what they're having for dinner. For some reason, William got like a chopped up piece of something. Like his food was not recognizable.
Right. But Rachel's was like the pig that we dissected in Mr. What's his name's class in high school.
Yeah, the fetal pig. The fetal pig.
It was the fetal pig.
They're big rats.
Face and everything. Face and everything.
How come Williams like sort of stewed up? Like when you make stew, okay, you're like letting it cook for a couple hours, and it's kind of falling off the bone, and I don't know that it's recognizable as like, you know, what it started out to be.
You're not plunking like a skinned whatever it is into a bowl and saying, "Here, eat this."
Right. I just was like, and again, this all happens in the books, but they're not They're not specifically rats. They just say that the stew. Yeah, I don't know what they use to describe it, but they don't say what kind of stew it is. They just say it's kind of like not good, or whatever.
I don't know what I was just gonna say. I had to laugh. Oh, at her going outside and being all like, "Oh, I just can't." Like, she's basically like, "Ew, I can't eat that." And then they have a conversation, and she's like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Oh my God, if this was me, I would be out there obsessing. Like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? This woman went to all this trouble. She made the stew. I can't eat it. I don't want to tell her I can't eat it." What?
There's no way of eating it. There's no way of eating it.
I know, but the woman in her mind, the woman went to the trouble of making it. You know,
I mean, Rachel's seeing that side of it because of the way, because of her religion and the way she's brought up. This woman, she's her mindset is to treat everybody's actions as kindnesses. But that doesn't mean, like, if you make me, I don't like hamburgers. And if you make me a hamburger, I'm not going to eat it, but hopefully you're not going to know I'm not going to eat it because I'll mess around with it a little bit. But again, I don't know. Somebody in the comments could be like, eating rats was very common back in the day.
Right. I really didn't mean for that, my commentary, to be taken seriously. I'm just saying I'm such an obsessive person that I would have been, and I worry too much about like, oh, I'm going to hurt her feelings. And like, she's out there like, I'm not eating that.
Well, you know who else wouldn't eat that? The Ninth Earl of Elsemere wouldn't eat that. And you're telling me that the Ninth Earl of Elsemere is going to, like, even though he had like the good plate that wasn't so ratty, is not going to go look over at her plate and go like,
no.
I mean, what is he, Joey Tribbiani?
I like it.
Like,
well, but he's been like trekking through the woods. I mean, he sort of has a little bit more experience now. Not that he's Jamie and would skin something and cook it and there you go. But I also felt like those people didn't have a lot to offer and they felt really bad. Like, because these people who don't really have a lot in the first place are feeding them.
It just was, I don't know. I thought it was kind of silly to like have actual rats on the plate. When you cook, I mean, I've cooked a rabbit stew before, okay? I mean, you buy the rabbit at the butcher. It looks like a rabbit without a head. It's really kind of gross.
No, I haven't.
But then you like cut it up and you put it in the pot and you put other things in it and you cook it for like 5 hours. And it doesn't look like a rabbit anymore. There's such a thing. I mean, you could still eat the stew could be really bad. The stew could make you sick. But like, just like having a rat on a plate was it's just, again, over the top. Maybe Rachel smells it and she's like, no, I can't do this. I need some air, whatever. And then she says, like, I just can't eat that stew when she tells William, whatever. William will eat it because he's hungry. And, to your point, maybe he doesn't care, but I don't think anybody is, I could be wrong. Again, I don't think the Ninth Earl of Elsemere is going to eat a rat.
Well, there you go. Maybe that's why his was more chopped up. But can we change the subject because it's grossing me out really bad? And P.S., if you see me doing this, I have my thermostat is Wi-Fi, and I'm seeing myself get more and more red, and I'm so hot, and I'm like, oh my God. And it hit me. I turned the AC practically off, and like my house is getting warmer and warmer and warmer. So yeah, keep going.
But point being, like, the guy, the head of the house, is like, he's got a bones pick with the military. They're all screwing him over from all sides, whatever. And the only thing I wrote down there is Rachel is so torn between two lovers. I mean, now she's kind of like, seems like she's kind of into William. Last episode, she's kind of into Ian. I mean, that girl has an embarrassment of riches.
I mean, yeah.
You know, later on, back at the end. All right, you guys who have not read the books, and no spoilers, people in the comments, don't like tell them. Who do you think Rachel, if Rachel chooses one of them, who do you think it's going to be? Who do you think she should choose? Tell us in the comments.
I have so much to say, so I'm looking forward to next week or the week after or the week whenever.
Okay. So we're back in the future. Bree is off to work and Raj is the Mr. Mom. And then we have this whole little thing about Bree going commando.
I just gonna say, well, I have in my notes that all in caps, Bree is commando. And she's just so not used to wearing undies anymore. Because I haven't been wearing my undies in the 18th century. And Roger wants her. Oh, I could understand this. I mean, I get it. Like, you know, Roger like thinks it'll be sexy or kinky or something if she wears her hard hat. But he's pushing it so much that I'm like, what's up with you, Raj? Like, I don't know. Her and her hard hat is sexy. I don't know. I don't get it.
I mean, see, this is where I'm seeing it sort of from how you were seeing the rat one. I'm just like thinking how I would feel like first day at a new job, you know, in Scotland, like it's a big job. I just am kind of like, I can't think about that right now, Roger. You know, let alone, and I probably would wear underwear on my first day, but that's just me.
I would wear the underwear. I just don't see why he thinks the hard hat is sexy, but to each his own.
Well, maybe he likes, I don't know. And again, you know, the look, it's just, the hair is just not 80s. I'm sorry.
I just don't understand what's going on with this hair.
You know what, Carol? There is a way we can sort of figure out what hair in the 80s should have been like.
Here we go. Not the 80s, 80.
This is my junior year yearbook, you guys. And I totally like ratted out my age now. But like, I don't really want to like, I'll like put some photos of this up in the I'll layer them, but like I'm looking at this now, like, okay.
Oh, is this
are
you allowed to show these?
Well, that's what I'm gonna like choose other ones. But like, can you see those hairstyles? None of them are like you know, like the bangs and like the poofy thing here, like the bouffant thing. You know, like people had wings. They definitely did back then. Remember that?
Barra.
Here, wait. I have my senior year yearbook. Maybe I can show my picture.
no.
This is 81.
Oh no.
Wait. I'm almost there. Okay.
There she is, everyone.
There I am. Do I look like Bree? No, I do not.
Oh, you straightened your hair in that picture.
Everybody's hair was straight. Everybody's hair was straight. It was the time of like, you know, what was on TV, like Charlie's Angels, and
everyone's hair has been straight since 1993. I said that the other day, or like at least just long and like wavy. I'm like, what happened to the curls? What happened to?
There were definitely, you know what there was in the 80s was like the curling iron wings and stuff. And I don't want to belabor the point, but like it's just
we already have. I can tell you that right now.
So we'll move on. It's just
I have such things to say about Bree's first day on the job, so I can't wait to get to that.
All right, so let's go. All right, well, here we go. So Bree is at the dam. I love that location. Did we like go there when we were in Scotland? Do you know where it is?
Well, for a second there, they showed the train tracks, the Harry Potter train.
I don't think that was train tracks. I think that was the dam.
I don't know. At one point, I thought they showed the train.
They did, but it was the back of the dam.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
He says to her, "Oh, you'll have been somewhere like here before." And she's all, "Yep." And I'm like, "Really? When were you there before, Bree? Like what? All of this experience that Bree has, I'm so confused at when all of this went down."
So
in college?
No. I think people talked about this in the comments at some point, that we don't see what happened in Boston for 2 years, because they went back. They were in Boston for 2 years. They had Mandy surgery. They, she recovered from the surgery, and Bree did some consulting jobs in and amongst there. Now, where you sort of go astray is that Book Bree graduated from college, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Show Bree did not. Show Bree like dropped out to go in the past. But she gets the tour. I love the music, like when the little car is driving down the road and it's like that Scottish music.
Oh, it was very Monarch of the Glen in the Land Rover.
Yeah, totally. And so Bree meets her coworkers, including one Rob Cameron.
Oh boy. And
that was a little fake out, because last week, go through the comments and you'll see last week, the chauvinistic HR guy that was then I guess it's the guy who's giving her the tour, had a little badge that said R Cameron on it. And everyone was all in a tizzy, including myself, because I was like, it's like Rob Cameron's supposed to be kind of her contemporary. Like, right. We didn't picture him. So clearly there's a lot of Camerons, there's a lot of R Camerons. This is Rob Cameron and his little band of merry men. So they're like, yeah, okay, I'll show her around. It's my project. And they basically like lock her in the basement, except the basement is this big tunnel, I don't know. I don't know where it is. Under the dam. I don't know.
And this moment was one of the ones that I was like, oh my God. Like I'm freaking out after going through some of the episode, like, okay, all right. I get to this and I'm like, all caps. They locked her in.
I forgot this part happened. I totally forgot about this part. And I didn't have time to look it up on my second watch or anything, but I totally forgot about it. But yeah. So she's like, man, I hate them. And she like, of course, figures out, like, she's just like, yeah, okay. You don't scare me, Rob Cameron. Lights come on. So she's walking around. She knows where to go. But all of a sudden she starts hearing something weird. And then it was super cool because you almost see her like flicker a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like
I was like, what are you doing getting over there? You can hear this humming. What are you doing?
Well, she doesn't know what it is. Like it could be, the sound of the dam or whatever. But all of a sudden she realizes.
She doesn't know what it is. She's Bree. She knows she's been here, but she's been in one of these before. She knows what she's doing.
There's sentiment. Sediment. Weird.
White wine sentiment.
I know.
Saying it.
Yeah.
Sediment.
It's sedimental. Okay.
That was the goat. But I'm
still not convinced that that the goat. I don't know. I just went right over my head. You guys inform me. So Bree, Bree realizes where she is, and she gets the hell out of Dodge, and she gets out, and she's just like, oh my God. Now I have a question for you. She doesn't tell Roger about this, does she?
Roger, I'm like, that's exactly what I had written down at one point. Like, I literally said, I'm afraid to look when she was running and hearing, and like, she no. And I was pissed. We're jumping a little, but I was pissed. I was like, are you, what? Everyone's just celebrating mommy's first day.
Right.
Like, you're not,
I mean, that's tonight's top story, right? Like mommy's first day at the job, whatever. But no. Breaking news. There's a portal over there. We're at my workplace, at my place of work.
Yeah. The buried lead. I just don't get it. I don't get any of it. I didn't understand.
Well, I mean,
if it's going to be like a future episode, she's going to be like, oh yeah, that time I got stuck. You know, I heard it humming. Like, I could not believe she didn't say anything. I couldn't believe she didn't report them. I mean, and I remember, but I don't know. I was like, oh my God. And I guess she figured, you know, I got to work with these guys and then I'll just make it worse.
Yes. Well, I mean, like in Bree's defense, you know, Roger is at her from like second one with the hard hat, like, okay, 15 minutes, Bree. Here we go.
Oh, Lord, Roger. Although Rogers does have a nice haircut these days.
Oh, Roger.
Now, if he would
today,
shave,
Roger looks good.
If he would shave, I'm not a big fan of the beard, so like I would love Big Boy Roger haircut with a little, just make it some scruff, maybe.
Give him some Jamie scruff. Yeah.
Give me the hard hat. Give me the hard hat. I'll take that hard hat.
But yeah, so he's all about the hard hat. So she like probably didn't really have a chance to tell him. But yeah, to your other point, like I mean, she didn't have a choice. Like she can't just get them fired. I mean, like that's she's in a quandary. Just figure out how to deal with the situation.
Well, I think that one thing that I had forgotten about, and that is what we saw. There's always going to be a way out. That wasn't a locking her in. That was a testing to see if she could how quickly she could get out.
Right.
And she definitely, again though, was it the next day? Because
no, it was that night.
When she went to the bar, she was like, oh, haha, that was funny yesterday.
No. It was that night because earlier when they first meet her, they're like, yeah, we're going to like just take you through really quick because we have a lot of work to do because we have to get to the pub. So.
I know, but I would swear she said, oh, hi, yeah, yesterday. That was funny.
I think it was that day because
I got to go
she's
back.
Not going to. No, I mean, she like they got it from dinner. And Roger was like, Bree, I need you for 15 minutes. After the dinner.
She's like, no, there's something I have to do.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know where I got that she said yesterday, because I was like, wait a minute, yesterday. I got to figure it out. Maybe I heard it wrong. I don't know.
We'll get there. So okay, yeah. So she feels fadey. Yeah, that was very cool because I'm not sure that we've really seen like the ever so slightly like and she realizes and it's like, oh, it was very cool. So we're back in the past. Ian is at Fort Ticonderoga. There's some other general. He's called in some other general's office. So all these generals running around. This guy, I don't know if he's a general, if he's like some other guy. I don't know. He's not Peppy. And he has to go deliver a letter to Joseph Brandt, who I feel like we've met before. He's like he's married to an Indian woman, maybe. He's got an Indian name. And Ian knows who he is, but Ian knows where he probably is too. Mm-hmm. And where he is, Emily is. And Ian's like, oh no, can you send someone else for personal reasons? Ian, that doesn't really work when you're in the military. Like,
yeah, well, he's not in the military.
I mean, I guess. Well, he was conscripted.
Look at me. I'm like pissed for Ian. I'm like defending Ian. I'm like, no, you're not in the military. It pissed me off.
I mean, was he conscripted or did he just? I think he did volunteer, so he kind of is in the military. I mean, he's like, in the like Mohawk brigade or whatever. He's got a certain role, but he still has to like when this guy's high enough up that he has to say how high when that guy's jump.
And this is Shadow Lake. They want him to go to.
They want him to go to. I didn't even write down. I don't know. Yeah, I think maybe Shadow Lake. I don't know.
And he doesn't want to go because his in-laws live there. And I just remember when I was blogging, you weren't even allowed to. Remember we used to do Monday Night Chat. We used to do Outlander chat, you guys, and I wouldn't even let anyone say Emily's name. I hated her so much.
Okay.
So he talks to Auntie.
Yes, this was a very nice conversation. This is definitely in the books. And he doesn't want to see Emily because like he's embarrassed. He feels like, you know, he wasn't able to give her children, and it's been weighing on him a lot because, and maybe because he's like sort of seen another girl that he's sort of interested in now, perhaps. Seems to have been thinking about this whole idea of like wedding another woman, but like he's not going to do it if he can't give her children.
Right. Which those rude dogs told him that he couldn't, and it was his spirit. And poor Claire is trying to decipher what the hell Ian's talking about. And she's like, Ian, surely you knew where babies come from. I mean, she didn't say that. But that's how it felt. And it was so funny. She was like, get the... And he's like, oh, no, Auntie.
The best part was like, yeah, you know, can you take a look at you know, maybe you can take, I mean, I know, like, Uncle Jamie told me about the sperm, and maybe you can take a look at some of mine.
I know. He's like, if you could take a look. And Claire's like, yeah, no, your family. Sorry. Yeah. And I loved her story. I loved her explanation, and that it has nothing to do with his spirit, and it can happen for many reasons. And then of course I'm tearing up as I'm watching. And
right. I feel like she gave him like a little genetics lesson too.
Yeah.
Like in the books, like because I mean that's the thing. Like it was more about just because like it wasn't like, oh, there's nothing wrong with you and you know, don't worry about it. It was more like there might have been something with you and Emily in your genes, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen with somebody else.
Right, exactly.
So it was a nice little scene. It's a nice little scene in the books, and Ian's just so cute. So real. Okay. So back to William and the hunters on the road.
Back to Ratgate.
So William, yeah, you know, maybe you should have seen that it was rats and not eaten it, but he wakes up, although maybe not, because that saved their lives. So he wakes up and he's like, oh, I shouldn't eat that stew.
And you can hear his stomach.
And then, you know, the couple's coming downstairs and William's like, oh my God, like, do you have any Pepto-Bismol or whatever? And they're like, no, but I have a sex. And they go all crazy on that.
Oh my God. How about when he right hooked Mrs. Johnson? I was like, damn.
Oh, that was the best.
That pissed me off too.
That was the best. And I mean, that was like a serious clock right there.
It was a serious clock. And it was great that I just was like, you're not feeling sorry for her. Let's turn her ass in.
I don't know how Rachel and Denzel like kept her, you know, at bay until William got finished with the other guy.
Yeah. Just they're not into violence, so just let her kill you. I just that whole thing. And then when they were talking about it, and it was just like, well, what should we do? Well, she's suffering enough. She lost her husband. I was like, are you insane?
I know. And I don't even remember what happens to her in the book. I don't think they kill her. I mean, but like, well, that's the thing. I mean, William, and I loved the scene too, because, you know, he's all like, he wasn't swaggery in the earlier scene with them talking philosophic. But he was definitely like, oh, I'd kill somebody if my self-defense was, you know, if my self-defense depended on it, like
life called his bluff.
No biggie. Life called his bluff. Exactly. You should put that on the t-shirt. Life calls his bluff, and he is kind of shocked at how he's reacted to all of that.
Right.
And how it makes him feel. And ironically enough, it's Rachel that kind of talks him down and says, you know, you were protecting us, whatever. I mean, maybe it was like that was God's plan for William to kill the crazy guy.
Right. Which probably made her feel good, which probably she liked that about him. Like, right. Oh, William's stock just went up a little bit because
Right.
My man doesn't want to kill anybody. He's not
Right.
that into violence. Ooh.
Right. Well, I mean, Ian was last week. There's a little spark there, but outside out of mind. And now here's William.
Right.
Here's Hottie Matosi, Mr.
The
William
Ninth
over there.
Earl of Ellesmere.
She doesn't know that.
Okay. I was going to say we could build a lot of meeting rooms with that.
She doesn't, because that comes up a little bit later. Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh, you
All
put
right,
your
we come-
glasses back on.
Oh, I didn't think. Oh my God.
What? They look so cute.
Sometimes I wear glasses, you guys, to read, except I don't like to wear them in the video. So
Do they make me look smarter?
I just got my glasses for school. They make me look smarter. Tell us what that's from in the comments, you guys. Tell us. Hint,
My accent
both
goes-
Carol and I have had the pleasure of not saying that line, but saying other lines in the same production. That's from. There you go. Guess away. Okay. So yeah, anything more about that scene? It was just, I mean, the Rachel and William stuff, I think, is the takeaway, and kind of how William is like really starting to see soldiering and killing people in a more realistic light. And it's not it doesn't feel, noble and whatever. It feels crappy, no matter how you do it, even if it's with self-defense. And she doesn't think bad of him at all. Okay, back to Ticonderoga. It's just this little scene. Like, Jamie found out that Simon FRAY-zer is heading up one of the British troops, aka son of an Islander. And so Jamie goes to seek out Pepe Le Pew, or no, I think he's telling Claire this. I don't know. I have written down Pepe won't listen. So whether he's just telling Claire that Pepe won't listen, or whether he's trying to tell Pepe, and
Right.
Pepe's like, "Big on the General FRAY-zer." They are all. That's another thing with all these people at Ticonderoga. They're all like FRAY-zer.
Yeah.
It's like another reason why you're all dumb.
And this is when
FRAY-zer.
Claire compares it to the Battle of Singapore. Attack them
Yeah,
at
and
their
see-
weakest point.
See, that I'm glad you wrote that down, because I didn't even write it down. Like, it just was sort of such an aside and throwaway to me.
And meanwhile, that's what it's called.
I know. Okay. What?
My comment is all in caps, but it's a spoiler, so I'm going to keep that to myself, because Lord knows if we see it at some point, I will not be keeping it to myself. So William and hunters.
William parts ways with the hunters. And this is where you get the sense,
Go ahead. I'm waiting to see.
This is where you get the sense that William does not want them to know that he comes from nobility, because he's like, if anybody gives you shit, tell them that, name drop Harold, the Duke of Parlow. And they're like, oh, how do you know him? And William's like, I just am sort of acquainted with him.
He didn't say he's kin or something?
He's sort of kin, whatever. Did he say? Yeah, he said Duke Parlow. He's like, yeah, he's sort of kin. But I don't think that he's not dying to tell them that he's the Ninth Earl of Elsemere.
He's like, listen, if anyone molests you.
I wrote down gives them grief, but I tend to, paraphrase these things.
I'm sorry. I should not be laughing, but it just sounded so odd coming out of us. And it's the 18th century. It's not now when we think molest is in a different way. But
Right.
If anyone molests you.
Yes, that was a broader meaning back then.
Right.
And he gives them all of the money that Ian gave them.
Wait, though, doesn't he? I'm sorry. So isn't that Uncle Hal?
Yeah.
So, and then he gives them I thought he said he's my uncle.
Yeah. No, he said he's sort of like yammer. He's a distant kin, or he's a.
Yeah, I thought he said he was kin or something.
But he wasn't like, oh, he's my father's brother.
And then he gives them the money.
Yeah, then he gives him the money that Ian had given him. Ian
To
gave
buy
him
a horse. But
to
he
buy a
did.
horse, that's right.
Right, but he did buy the horse, so he had some left. Well,
I guess
and
he had some left.
and see, this is what I kind of felt like. And again, you guys, I don't know. I'm just looking back on it and going, yeah, was he basically finally admitting to it? Like, this is my family, and here, take this money. Believe me, I got more.
I feel like he was not owning up to his family, and he felt in their debt because they like saved his life.
Yeah.
So,
God, yeah. I mean, that's a given. He's giving them the money because they've saved his life, and he's like,
right.
no. Take this, I insist, and whatever.
Right.
But I'm a little confused because he said, he tells them this is where they have to part ways because he's going to Fort Ticonderoga. Or did he say
no?
They're going to. That
yes.
is what I was so confused because the editing was a little bizarre because all of a sudden there's Denzel with Claire, and I'm like, what? The 2 seconds ago you were walking through the woods. That's what it was, because I was thinking he was saying he was going to Ticonderoga. No. He was saying, I'm going to part ways with you because you're going to Ticonderoga. Okay.
We don't really, we know he's going to New York because remember, he was supposed to deliver his messages to those 3 people and then meet up with General so-and-so in New York. We don't really know where. We don't know what his deal is.
You guys, I did not, it's again, had a very tiring week. I don't know. I really thought he was saying, because if they knew he was going to New York too, I don't know. Anyway, let's move on.
Okay. And I just wrote down, I'm loving the Hunters. So again, chef's kiss, casting wise, so good. Love them.
And I also have to say that somebody yesterday, they had they offered a trolley tour in Philadelphia, and one of the kids told her mom it was bumpy. And I'm looking at that rickety wagon and going, oh my God, can you imagine? Let's just drive on to Ticonderoga in this thing. And this girl doesn't want to go on the trolley because it's bumpy.
I do think Rachel's whole traveling outfit is super cute. Like for the day, It's like a cute coat and a little bonnet.
Yeah.
Like super cute. Loved it.
No one's ever cold in these shows. All right, so
I don't know when it's supposed to be. All right. Okay. We are at the Mohawk camp. So Ian comes over to the Mohawk camp and he sees Emily. I'm not going to go there with the whole with what? Oh, you don't like her. With the trying to figure out Mohawk versus English. It is what it is. So Emily now is a daughter. Yeah, it is what it is. I still think that maybe it's like a device where they speak a little Mohawk and then they start speaking English, but you're supposed to like imagine that they're still speaking Mohawk. But
yeah, well, I mean, they even said at one point, like, oh, you speak English, whatever. But it was just they're trying to show you that, for effect, they're doing a little tiny bit of the Mohawk so that you're hearing it. But it just is so funny. Like, oh, wait, English, great. English, okay.
Okay. Yeah. So Emily now has a daughter with her new husband, Ian's former friend.
Yeah.
And so Ian, again, he apologizes to her for not being able to give her children.
I literally have written down in all caps, bitch whose name I cannot say.
I hate on Emily. I don't know.
What? This is a way more of a book situation. They've barely, anybody who didn't read the books and just watches the show is listening to me like, Carol, what is your problem?
Well, there's some big differences between the book and the show in this scene that we need to talk through. Big differences. So, my God, my allergies are so bad. They're, basically like, he's like, are you happy? And she's like,
no.
Yeah, I'm happy. Are you happy? He's like, duh, can you see me? Like, duh. Oh, no, I'm sorry. She was like, I won't even ask you because I can just,
Keep
talking. Or no, he said, aren't you going to ask me?
Keep talking. I'm right here. I just got to plug in my computer before it dies. Keep talking, everyone. Keep talking. I can hear you. I'm on my
She's like, you know, he's like, aren't you gonna ask me if I'm happy? And she's like, yeah, I don't need to. And that was just all very sad.
That was totally sad. But I still don't feel bad. So basically they are making you feel bad for her.
Yes. For both of them, because, you know, they would be happy if they were together. They're not together. It's a big mistake. It's a big, you know, it didn't end up the way they either of them wanted it to end up, but it is what it is. So
okay, I'm trying really hard. I'm failing miserably, you guys, to say like, wasn't that way in the book? But it was a different situation in the book. It was her kicking his ass to the curb in the book. And here it's poor Emily. She really wants to be with him, but she's with.
It's kind of like that in the show too, and it really was like not even. I mean, I think it was a tribal decision, wasn't it? In the book and the show, it wasn't just Emily like, yeah, you're back, you barren, out, you out. It was more just like
it was more so of that than this, than like, oh, poor Emily, she really wants to be with him, but she can't because they're not letting her. Whatever.
I do feel like in the book, and maybe I'm not remembering it correctly, and I did go back and read this part a little bit because, well, I needed to because it's very different from the book in some ways. That she, I don't even, you know what, I'm not going to say, like, and I thought maybe she was happier in the book overall with the new husband than she seems to be in the show, but I could be wrong about that.
No, whatever. She absolutely was.
I feel like she was.
I couldn't even say her name, but let's take this situation a little further because, oh my God, let's keep going. So they have their conversation.
Okay, so they have their conversation, and then Ian is like, I'd like to meet your son. Is it okay? And she's like, okay, hey, you, come over. And little mini Ian Jr. walks over. And it's very clear, like, it's not... I honestly don't remember the details in the book to know if it's this clear. But, like, the kid has red hair, like...
I can't even remember this.
From the books?
Why did he get his ass kicked to the curb?
Did they know at the time when she, like, did they, when his, I mean, had they hung out a couple more months? And I also feel like, didn't they have a couple of miscarriages
all I know is
after Isabel?
I remember Swiftest of Lizards, but I don't remember him being Ian's son.
I don't think in the books. Oh man, now.
And if he was Ian's son, why aren't they still together?
I think in the books, it's a little more, and again, I could be completely making this up, but I don't remember I don't remember it being, like, I remember there being a seed of, like, doubt, but it's coming not from the kid having red hair as much as from the kid saying, oh yeah, my grandma says that I'm the child of your spirit. And that's really the big clue. And he says it here too, but also in the show, the kid looks exactly like Ian. I mean, he looks like Emily too, but the kid is red haired.
I'm literally searching my blog while we're discussing this because I want to know my opinions on this. And if I wasn't at
that's a good idea.
Student orientation for the past 3 days, I would have done it already. So
that's a good idea. I'm going to talk for a minute because I do want to get to the big difference here. So Emily's like, okay, come here. I'm going to go take care of your sister. And they have a little chat. And Ian's like, what's your name? And the kid's like, Swiftest of Lizards. We're going to get to that. We got to check that through. And the kid's like, yeah, you know, my grandma says that I'm the child of your spirit. And Ian's like, oh, okay. And then Emily comes back. and says that she would like Ian to choose a name for Swiftest of Lizards that he can use when he walks in Ian's world. He walks in Ian's world.
Yes.
And I'm just gonna say what happens here, and then we can talk it through. And Ian says your name is Ian James. And he's like, oh, I like that. Right, great, all right. Okay. We need to talk about how this goes down in the book, because it does not go down like this. In the book, the little boy doesn't really have a name.
Oh my God.
And the reason for that is that you don't like in the Mohawk, you're not like given a name at birth. You just sort of like a name kind of comes to you. That's the belief. And this is all from the book. And your name comes to you when it's ready to be given or ready for you to take, whatever. So I don't know what they call them at the moment, but whatever. It's not Swiftest of Lizards. So Emily actually has 3 kids at the time, and one of them is a little baby that was just born. And same sort of thing happens, like the little boy, the oldest boy, wanders over. I'm not remembering what the book says about like what that boy looks like. And if like I don't think that Ian like feels like he's looking in a mirror by any means. Okay. And he and Ian, and the little boy still tells him that, like, my grandmother says that I'm the child of your spirit. But they have this little thing with a lizard where, like, they try to catch it, and if they don't catch it at first, and Ian's like, yeah, this is really hard. Like, you have to be patient, da-da-da, da-da-da. Finally, the kid gets it. The kid catches the lizard. And he's like, look at my new lizard. I'm going to name him, yada, yada, whatever. And then Emily comes back with a little baby that's just born and asks Ian to name this little girl baby. And that like, yes, your name comes to you, but you can also, like, this is a big honor for Ian, like that she's bestowing on him to honor her honored child.
This chick who kicked him to the curb is asking him to name her new baby with her new baby dada.
Right. So he's like, I'm honored, thank you, but I'm not going to name her. I'm going to give him a name, the kid. Your name is Swiftest of Lizards. The end. That's how the scene ends. So the big difference is that in this naming business, that Swiftest of Lizards already has the name Swiftest of Lizards, and Emily wants Ian to give Swiftest of Lizards a Christian name, essentially. And the reason is that she's saying he's going to have to live in your world. And I don't know how I feel about that change.
Part of you.
What?
It just reminds me of Little Mermaid.
Everybody can talk at this stage, and no one has a tail. I don't understand why.
What?
Part of your world. Okay, I get it. I get what you're saying. I think it's really interesting. I think it's a really interesting departure. I don't know whether I like it or not. On the one hand, what were you going to say?
Because you don't know where the hell they're going with this. When she said, but didn't she just? I didn't put too much credence in her saying that. I just figured, it helps him out, when he's older and he has to go to get supplies or something. You know what I mean? He can go into the town and call himself Ian.
I mean, I think I saw a deeper meaning. I saw the meaning of, like, we all see what's going on here, bro. He is going to have an issue that my other ones are not going to have. which is that he is going to have to live in your world. He's going to have to exist in your world.
I didn't see it
and not just to like go to the store.
I didn't see it as a had to go to your world. I saw it as a like you just saw it way more intensely than I did. I just saw it as like if he is in your world for some reason, this will help.
I didn't see it as an incidental thing. I saw it as like a more of a like clearly he's different. Clearly he's of two worlds. Clearly he's going to have to straddle both worlds in a way that like Emily, you know, unnamed girl child does not.
Right.
You know. And well, I thought that was sort of an interesting level. Like if we're going to go there,
that he's going to get kicked out.
Who
the same way her cold, heartless ass kicked him out, kicked Ian out. You think she's going to kick her own son out? Wouldn't be surprised. I also want to read you something too.
I think she's just being a realist, and I kind of, you know, the more I talk to myself here, I talk to you about this, I feel like I like it.
Could write Outlander.
No, it's very different, but and there was something I didn't like about it, and now I'm forgetting what it was. I don't know. I feel like there's a realism about it that I appreciated. But again, it was also because they were so upfront with like, you know, I got eyes. That's Ian's kid. You know, so maybe the decision was like, if we're making it this obvious, you know, we can't just be like, okay, yeah, you're Swiftest of Lizards. I have to like go a little more with it.
I think it doesn't make sense at all because she kicked him to the curb because he couldn't give her a child, and now there's this child. Like what? It didn't make sense. So
maybe when he was forced to leave, because I'm not going to go there with being as harsh as you are. Maybe she didn't even know she was pregnant at the time. But doesn't he come back?
If he
don't Jamie come back, and I forget whether, because he beats up her husband, but I forget whether. Oh no, we know.
Well,
we don't see her because she's away. I think we don't see her. We only see the husband. A couple seasons ago, Jamie and Ian go to the Mohawk for something. I don't remember what.
Right.
And the husband's there, but she is not.
Right.
He has not seen her since he left the Mohawk. I feel like you and I have different, like, I feel like it wasn't, at least in the show, not as much of a, like, she tossed him out as much as she was forced to have him leave.
In the show.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. In the show.
Yeah. And what were you going to read me?
This is a blog post from 2010. Lassies. Wait, I'm going to repost my comment from yesterday's post here because I think it's worth mentioning. Lassies, I am of the firm belief that Swiftest of Lizards is not Ian's biological child. Ian would have done the math and you couldn't have dragged him away if that were the case.
Keep reading. I'm in my Outlandish companion now. See if I can find
However, I'm about to mention you. So, however, I think it is very important that his ex-mother-in-law, who oddly enough, I don't have a problem with, said the boy has Ian's spirit. As far as I know, the spirit is extremely important in the Native American world. I plan to research this as I find it fascinating. And Tracey wants me to mention that she referred to Sun Elk. Is Sun Elk in the show?
That's Emily's husband.
Oh, she referred to Sun Elk. And then was that his name? As, I'm just going to say here, F's with your wife. Before I referred to him as ass who steals wife of odd Scottish Indian.
I gotta go back and read some of those.
So yeah, I'm not going to read any more of that because I don't want to get into any spoilers. And there is something saying, how much do you love William and Ian hanging out? You guys, I'm sorry, I'm going to give myself a plug. Go back and read these. Go back and read the blog posts from while I was reading these books, because now that I'm reading them, we had so much fun. Like, there's a little bit of Tracey interjected into this stuff. Sometimes we would have an email and I would just post the whole email because it would be the conversation between Tracey and me. But it's just my like ridiculous thoughts as I'm reading this stuff. So long story short, I'll have to find it and I'll post it again, because that I said I was reposting from the day before. That's how much I could not stand Emily when I was reading the books, because I was so defensive of Ian, and it was absolutely more of a case of her kicking his ass to the curb.
It's going to take me forever to find that part in here, but I did find it in the Outlandish Companion, and it says they make their peace with each other. She's given back birth a third time and offers Ian the naming of the new child with great honor. Ian is deeply moved, but he has been talking with Emily's oldest son, a 5-year-old, who has told Ian that his great-grandmother says he is the child of Ian's spirit, but that it's probably best to not tell son Elk. Ian gravely agrees, but when offered the chance to name the younger child, he tells Emily that the oldest son is his to name, and gives him the name Swiftest of Lizards. So it's much less obvious, I think, in the books than the show. You can kind of...
Well, that's Diana Gabaldon. I mean, everything,
right.
not everything. Some things that were a big deal were left up to interpretation and left up to the reader, or Diana Gabaldon. Like, Diana has her idea, but, you know,
right.
Or there were some things in the series, like, you know, she'd be like, well, of course, whatever. And we'd all be like, of course, I gotta read that again.
But point being, in the book, it's much more left up to interpretation, I think. Although I feel like at the time, I think I was like, you know, they were more, I think in the show, they were more direct about like, okay, the Mohawk believe that you get pregnant by the man putting his spirit on your, like, the spirits fight, and when the man spirit wins, then you get pregnant. Like, it was more up to interpretation in the book. I don't think it is in the show. I think, I mean, am I alone here?
No, it's absolutely not in the show. And then there's that part of me that's like, well, she knew she was pregnant and it was his kid. Why the hell didn't somebody come and find him?
Yeah.
Oh,
the 5-year-old Ginger walking out of the tent, like,
yeah. I'm pissed all over again. Just move on. Just move on. The next thing I have is Roger in front of I'm like, are they still living in that trailer in front of Lallybroch?
I don't know why it's there other than to be the garage bar. Like, but you that shot, you can tell it's a lot bigger than they show it from the side sometimes, and it really,
it's a single wide. It's a single wide.
This is a little bigger or whatever. Okay. He's building something, I'm not quite sure what. Jan comes home from school, he doesn't look happy, and he like ducks into the bushes. And Roger's like, huh? And he runs into some building. Do we know what this building is? Is it the Dovecot from like a million years ago? From when we saw Lallybroch in this 18th century?
I don't know, but I keep thinking of Mid-Hope, where like when you first walk up there and the ivy and everything. I don't know. And
I was trying to think that too. I was like, is there another? Did we walk past another building? Is there really another building there? Or I don't know.
And you know what? I shouldn't say no. I don't remember. I was thinking the same thing, but I don't think so. Thinking it's not when Jamie was a dump on it. Like I do feel like there was like a little room. I don't want to say too much. So let's keep going.
I just thought it was weird that like, here's this clearly like old room. Not quite sure what it is, except for this big "keep out" sign on the door.
Oh my God.
Well, why are you supposed to keep out? It looks like a perfectly fine room to go, like, you know, blow off steam from your parents.
Snacks. To go eat your snacks.
I didn't get it.
To go eat your crusts.
So yeah. So anyway, we learned Jem got, and this was very sad. This is all right from books too. Jem got in trouble because some kids were being mean to him, and he told them where to go, but he said it in Gaelic. The teacher got wind of it, and you're not supposed to speak Gaelic in school.
Why the heck not?
Jem got he got the belt. I mean, again, now I don't know. Scotland must be really far behind. First, you have these hairstyles that are from the 70s, and now kids are getting the belt in 1980. What is this, Catholic school?
I
mean,
mean,
a Catholic school because he's being called a stinking papist. Like, who's giving kids the belts in school? And
I don't want to insult anyone from the UK, but I think that's what somebody's point was in the comments, was that when you say, were they still doing that at that point, the comment was they were a little bit behind us. So, I don't know. I don't know. All I know is, if he slips into the Gaelic once in a while, I can see if it's a problem in like England, in like Liverpool or something, but he's in Scotland, he's up in the Highlands. Like, what is it a problem if he slips into Gaelic once in a while?
I'm sorry. Like, okay, I already outed myself as being a junior in high school in 1980, which would make you like 6th grade, 5th grade.
I was, remember, I'm halfway through the year. So
yeah.
I was either in, hang on, let me think.
You graduated from high school in 86.
I was either in 6th grade I was either in 6th grade or the end of 5th grade.
Say you're at end of 5th grade. You come home from school and you're like, and you're all sad, and Patsy's all like, what's wrong, Carol? And you're all like, yeah, Sister Mary the Roaster gave me the belt. It's going to be down at that school so fast.
Oh, no. Nope. Patsy's going to say, what did you do?
Oh, you think Patsy's going to get, I mean, I won't belabor the point.
Randy! I don't really know, because none of us ever got in that kind of trouble. Let's be honest. You, me, your sister Jill, we were all friggin' good.
But there were no belts being given anywhere. We did go to Catholic school.
I did get in trouble for talking the most, but it was for talking to the person next to me when I was supposed to be looking at the board.
Right, and you probably like had to stay in the classroom at recess or something like
stuff
that.
Like that, but nothing like this.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So Roger's like, "Didn't fash. We'll work it out." All great. Okay. And then at the end, they're like, and Roger's like, "Yeah, you need to pick up all this stuff, all this trash." And Jem's like, "No, it's not mine. Bye." I'm still worried about Jen. He's so sullen, and he's so like, I didn't put it there, Doc. Bye. Like, right, he's so like rude.
Well, he's finally getting to the point where he's not even fighting it anymore. He's just like defeated, and he's just like,
Roger,
it's no mine. I don't know what he said. They're no my crisps.
So okay, then we get to the scene from Airplane where the woman is freaking out, and then everyone's all like ready to slap her.
Calm down, get a hold of yourself.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That's the woman freaking out, and Claire is like, "Oh, I'll give you some herbs."
Oh my God, I felt so bad for that woman.
I know.
She lost her husband and her son.
But they don't say that till like 5 minutes later, like when she's like freaked out, and I'm like laughing in my head. Point being, we need to see Claire is in a surgery helping out, whatever.
Mrs. Raven, aka Jan Brady.
Mrs. Raven.
I don't totally reminded me of fake Jan Brady.
Okay. So then Claire hears all this arguing, and it's the Pompous surgeon, who I don't even remember his name. I just call him Pompous surgeon. And again, here's another example of like how Jamie and Claire don't kill a lot of them and just like take on the British themselves. I'll just never know. This guy's another idiot. Okay. So
Yes.
yada yada. He Pompous Surgeon and Denny are arguing like, well, no, I think we need to cut the leg here. I think we need to cut the leg there. So Claire is like, oh, I'll throw in my 2 cents. And at first she agrees with Pompous Surgeon, but then she feels the leg and she's like, oh no. Oh no, I'm sorry. He's right. It does have to come up. And it was so the poor guy whose leg it was like, yeah, third opinion. Come on, man. Come on. Give me some good news. Maybe I'll have to have it cut off at all. And she's like, oh no, I think he's right, And he's the guy's like, and he wasn't really like, I mean, he was in pain sort of towards the end, but at first he was like, no, well, it's too lower, right? Right?
I kept thinking about William when they thought they were going to have to amputate. And then they just poured some boiling water on it and everything's okay. So I'm thinking Denzel's going to be like, wait a minute, I've seen this done. And boiling water.
That's it. Yeah. Oh no, but they didn't have boiling water, remember? Because there wasn't any around. Claire was going to go get some boiling water for the instruments.
Yes.
And Pompous Surgeon freaks out. He's like, you're not putting any boiling water on my instruments. It's going to ruin them. It's just hilarious. But it was also interesting that, what?
I said, excuse me, because I just yawned and it has nothing to do with what you're saying.
You're not at all bored by me.
No, I am not. This is one of the best conversations we've had in a long time. This is not at all boring, everybody. This is Carol tired. Sorry.
And then, but I also thought it was interesting that Denzel did not really know about the boiling water trick either, which was kind of cool for a schooling.
Right.
Denzel
is, I think Denzel is from 1980. Denzel knows a lot. Denzel knows almost as much as Claire.
I have to say, that's a good point, because I thought that the sick burn, was when Denzel was like, yeah, maybe I should do the surgery because I went to college for this after all.
Right.
Because I have a degree in this.
Right.
So suck it, Pompous Surgeon.
And he was obviously
Dr. Pompous.
Yeah, and he was defending Claire, which was great.
Yeah. So Claire has a new best pal now. Denny and Claire are like this. Yes, Pompous Surgeon will not have it. God, it was so funny.
Yeah, Pompous Surgeon's leaving and he's taking his instruments with him. Screw you guys.
Oh my God. Then, okay, so Jamie has his little spyglass. He's looking up the hill. Here comes Frenchie. Here comes Pepe Le Pew.
Oh, for the love of God, there it is again.
Get in the face here. What are you looking at there? Oh, look. The Highlanders got the cannon up the hill. And it's Jamie's Highlanders. And Pepe Le Pew's like, what are you talking about? That's horrible.
Yeah. No, none of you pay attention to what I have to say.
And then they fire on them. And Jamie's like, yeah, we meant to do that. And Pepe Le Pew, and to his credit, in his defense, it's probably a good reaction to have. It's like, the hell, bro? Why are you firing on us? And Jamie's like, it's to prove a point, Frenchie.
Oh my God, I was thinking the same thing. I was kind of feeling slightly bad for Frenchie. Poor Pepe was like, I'm sort of the head of this operation. And I said, no, I felt like it was like me when I tell one of my kids, I said no.
But did you do it in a French accent?
Oui. Oh, that's terrible. Anybody French watching this, please teach us how to do a proper French accent.
I wrote it down the it's just I don't know. I don't want to say his dialogue was bad, but I feel like his dialogue was just so over the top. I can't do it. Oh God.
Oh, you wrote it down?
The only thing I have seen is your flagrant disregard for authority. It sounded so so hilarious in the way he said it.
This guy's mad that Jamie let his men one-up him with the cannon outside their camp. Also, his French accent is about as French as Lane Meyer's mother. French
But
bread.
I mean, I don't want to say that because like I think like I said, I think he is a French guy, but
Right.
it just like for whatever reason.
But we're not ripping on his acting at all, and we're not saying he can't do a French accent. It was a very, very put on French accent, which very well might have been the direction.
Right. And I mean, the point was to make it to reinforce the point that he doesn't kind of know, like Jamie knows what he's doing.
Right.
Jamie has seen this kind of fighting before. Jamie has fought with Highlanders. He knows what they're gonna do.
But Jamie also is having a hard time remembering that you're not the boss here. Like,
but
yeah,
you know what?
Jamie's trying to save lives.
It's like Dr. Pompous is the counterpart to Pepe Le Pew, right?
Yeah.
And they both have this kind of dialogue that is kind of silly, sounds silly, over the top, you know, like, I'm like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You know, I mean, that's their purpose. That's the purpose of their characters, is to, you know, be like, don't be ridiculous. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, Jamie, insert name, Jamie Clair, you know, whatever. So it is what it is. And that was their purpose, and they did it very well. I love when Jamie's like, or when Pepe Le Pew is like, you know, I should put you in chains, but that's not, because we need every man must defend the fort. It was just so good. It was so good. All right, so moving on. Well, Ian arrives back at Fort Ticonderoga, and oh, look, there's Rachel. And Rachel's all like, oh, look, here's my other man. You know? And Rachel this again is so good. Rachel's like, oh, yes, William protected us. He rode with us to Fort Ticonderoga and made sure we were okay. And Ian is like, he did? Well, yeah, from now on, Biggie is back in town, and I got that job now. That's my job now. So Rachel's now all like,
I think Rachel likes his tattoos. That's what I've decided in my head. Rachel loves Ian's little.
Because they're like,
Ian, I'm being a wise guy, but now I'm being serious. Ian is definitely, he's her bad boy. William's not a bad boy.
I was just gonna say, Rachel likes herself a bad boy.
Yeah, Rachel, like on the inside, there's a little bit of burning for something, for rebellion. You know what I mean? She's got a little rebel in her. So she's like, oh, yes, you don't see that every day. That's what it seems like. It seems like William is like marriage material. Well, maybe not for her, but you know what I mean? Like William is a straight shooter and from a good family and speaks well and blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, Ian comes along and she's like,
So if you were gonna play F, Marry, Kill,
yeah.
If Rachel was gonna play F, Marry, Kill,
Rachel edition.
Rachel edition. William, Ian. I mean, Denzel's the only other one I could think of, and he makes it easy to kill. You kill him.
Kill Denzel?
Well, I mean, if it's Rachel, you can't marry or F him.
Well, bite your tongue. It's his sister, and he's hot.
Yeah, but she's the one playing it. You're not playing it.
Well, give me somebody other than him. That's creepy.
Is this Rachel? Is this Rachel edition or is this our edition?
It's Rachel edition, but give me someone other than her brother.
Okay. Crazy rat guy.
That's too easy. I mean, duh. Ian's F. William's married.
I don't know if she knows somebody else.
And crazy rat guys kill.
All right, okay, yes, Ian is F, William's married, crazy rat guys kill.
Right, that's what I'm
pretty
going
easy.
With. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah, okay, all right. Once she meets Jamie, because I don't think she's met him yet, we can throw him into the mix, and then we'll see where it goes. Okay. So let's check in with Claire and the amputee guy.
Mr. Woodcock.
Mr. Woodcock. I'm sorry. No, Private Woodcock. Colonel Woodcock?
I don't know.
Lieutenant Woodcock?
Colonel Woodcock sounds like he's in the library with the candlestick. Yes, Mr. Woodcock, about his wife and dancing, and he's better now, and he's going to see his wife again.
Yes. And that was some very good work on their part, on part of Claire. And do you think Claire really assisted in this, or was Claire like in the surgery, or was she like, you know, if you just tie off that vessel over there, wait, will you just give me this?
Right. Must have been hard.
Yeah, I don't think Claire like is good sous chef, you know, when it comes to surgery. Okay.
Light the oven.
So we got into this a little bit earlier. So the Mackenzies are at the dinner table. They're having their little celebration. Bree's first day. And yeah, I was like, did Bree tell Roger about the portal? So she like, you know, is keeping a brave face for the kids, but then she's all, and then Roger's very good. This whole episode, he's a very good psychologist. He's the one that's noticing that what's wrong with everyone. It's very good. Like, you know, if this priest thing isn't working out,
right,
or minister
therapy,
there you go, you go. But he gets a sense that there's something wrong, so he's like, Bree, come here. And she tells him that she got locked in the vault, and you know, she's really pissy, and Roger made a really good point. He's like, you know, your mother went to medical school, Harvard Medical School, and I'll bet you her first day was exactly the same way. And it was, because we happened to see that a million years ago. So then Roger's like, I have a surprise for you. And the desk from last week, he like bangs around a little bit. The secret drawer pops open.
And aren't you freaking out? Like, oh my God, what's in it?
100%. And what's in it is not what I thought was going to be in it. It's a box. It's a box. But okay, it looks like a nice long thin box. It's not blue, but you know, usually long thin boxes have like nice necklaces in them, maybe a nice watch. She opens it up and it's a pen.
In my heart, she gave me a pen.
But the funniest part is Bree loves it. Did you ever get a pen for a gift? See, I should say this. I feel like in the 80s, maybe the 70s, maybe the 90s, but like pens were a big thing to give people.
Yes.
You know, like when you graduated high school, if you got one pen, you got 5 pens. Like everybody's giving you pens, like nice pens. I probably like could open up a drawer in this office and pull out 5 of them right now. It was just, and sometimes they would come with a pencil too. Nobody does that now because nobody really breaks anymore.
Right.
But she was just thrilled. She's thrilled.
Yeah, my girl loved that pen. I was like, a pen? I was looking for some jewelry from Jamie in the secret drawer, and it's a pen from Staples.
Yeah, I was like, a pen? Really, Raj? Okay, as long as Bree likes it, sure.
Right.
What the hell?
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
Yeah, and I just pretend Roger, you were doing so well up to now, but Bree likes it, so whatever. Then there's a scream. What's wrong? Mandy saw the knuckle-bee. Or the knuckle-bee. Knuckle-bee. Knuckle-bee.
How to say that?
Well, no, because Roger, she saw him outside. Roger was outside, doesn't see anything. No, because the priest hole is not really a hole; it's a cabinet. It's like a cutting board cabinet.
It's a closet,
and it's inside. But no, Roger goes outside, doesn't see anything. So you know these kids and their stories that they're making up here, whatever. Okay, so we're back into the past. Fort Ticonderoga. What's happening? Oh, look, the British are taking the hill. Jamie's like this.
Shocker. Yeah. Jamie's like, what
you were saying?
What is
so I told her.
So finally, after this entire episode goes on, we see, who do we see? We see General St. Clair, the actual guy that was the actual general in this battle or fort or whatever, who was Scottish, who, you know, based on my hypothesis, they couldn't use him in the beginning. Now he's ripping everyone a new one. Pepe Le Pew, why didn't you see this sooner? Like, and Pepe's like, and then, of course, St. Clair loves Jamie. They're both Scots. Plus, Jamie's the only smart one there.
And how about him being like flipping out about the cannons? I'm like, was he napping today when Jamie's men fired a cannon at close range? Or I mean, at where they fire? What? Wait, did you miss that?
Well, yeah, where's he been the whole episode? And you know, historically, he was the one that didn't think that they would. And I mean, he is a Scot, and he does, you know Highlanders. And it's like what we said before. Historically, he didn't think that the British could take that hill either. So there you go. So they're retreating. They gotta go. So Back to the Future. Roger, 15 minutes, we can get busy. Here's your hard hat, stick it on. Bree's like, yeah, no, I gotta go. I gotta see a guy.
As tempting as that invitation was, Roger, you and your 15 minutes are gonna have to wait.
So then Bree goes to a phone booth, does her quick Superman change, and out walks Boss Bitch Bree again. Boss Bitch Bree walks into that pub.
Walks into Tom Stark's favorite pub.
Any Scottish pub ever.
Oh my God, the guy behind the bar, I took one look at that pub and I was like, oh man, this is that's where Tom is right now, somewhere up there.
Yup. And so she sits herself right down. She's like, okay, I don't even remember what she said, but it's some funny thing, whatever, and they're making it sound like they do it to all the newbies. I don't know.
Right.
And
that they admitted that it took the 3 days to get out
right.
or something.
Right.
Yeah.
And Rob Cameron's like, get the hen. Did he call her a hen there? I didn't know where he called her a hen. I kind of missed that. But he's like, yeah, get her a pint, whatever. And she turns to him and she's basically like, okay, so here's the deal. Do that again, I have a whole lot of you fired. Okay? And don't call me a bitch. And he calls her governor.
I thought it was a little close to everyone else. They can hear you.
Well,
we're supposed to suspend disbelief, and it was just between the two of them.
Yeah, I think they're having a little chat to themselves. So that was great. I mean, Boss Bitch Bree, love her so much, she's so great. Okay, so it's time for retreating, and the bad news is they can't bring the patients.
Yes, I have Jamie tells Claire they have to evacuate, and it's not looking good for Walter and his amputated leg.
I feel like they do bring all the people in the books, so this was a little weird to me that they just leave them behind.
Okay, so then I have Claire is leaving Walter on the Titanic while she jumps out onto a lifeboat. Can they not carry him out on a stretcher or something? They're gonna leave injured. And then I have, can he grab a kid and say, I've got a child? It made no sense to me. Walter, I'm sorry, but.
The British are going to take sympathy on you because, you have no leg. They'll be nice too. Don't worry.
You can't put pressure on that leg, Walter. Better lay here where it's safe and you're about to be blown up. I was like, what the hell? It was so Titanic. It was such doom.
It was really weird.
It was impending doom. And Claire was
they couldn't throw him on a horse?
Yeah, I don't get it.
With two people? So, and then she slips him some laudanum. And she's like, here, this will ease the pain. And I was trying to figure out, if she meant for him to, if things get really bad, just take all of it. I didn't get it. It was just really weird. That was really weird. Yeah, the war will be over one day and you go back to your wife.
Yeah, that's
really
that's like, yeah, like such BS. What can't they should have left crazy Mrs. Raven there with him. They would have been a little pair. She needed herself a little somebody. And they're fleeing in the boats, and she cray, and she looks like Handmaid's Tale. So just leave her there in green. She's Handmaid's Tale in green. So just leave her there with him. If you're gonna like, I didn't get it. I didn't get it.
Yeah, I didn't get it either. I didn't get it. So everyone heads out, and then we're back to the future one more time. Bree is at the graveyard.
Oh God,
she's got to resolve. She's got to resolve this
before Bree. It was like the outside of the graveyard with
right. Well, just like from the very beginning of the show. So it like bookends it.
I need to watch this starting again. Yeah, it was beautiful. And then there she is with the little, okay, you guys, my sister-in-law has a Cairn Terrier and was here over the weekend with her Cairn Terrier. So of course I had to tell them all about Clava Cairns when we went in Scotland and we were all dancing around, and how you can walk in that one giant cairn. And then they go to this shot, and there's the little cairn that Jemmy made for Da.
I know.
Oh,
I know.
So awesome.
I know. And I love that Bree was just like, she just started talking to Da. And I love that they kind of like fade to black and start the credits, but you can still hear her talking over the credits. Yes. That was so cool. That was great. That was really great.
The fade to black was gorgeous. So perfect. We talk to the dead when we're ready and not a moment before. Yeah. I loved the fade to black. That was just so awesome.
Yes, I agree. And that's it. That is episode 705. I think we gave our overall impressions a little bit at the front end, but yeah, it was, it's not my favorite episode of the season.
No.
And I feel like it had its purposes to kind of move the story along. Introduce some characters, we're starting to like get the hunters involved here. Resolve some things for Ian so that maybe, if he's the chosen one of Rachel's, maybe he can kind of like move on there. If he doesn't get chosen, then he can, move on to someone else. Yeah, it was good. It was a good, solid episode.
Maybe that was basically why they went in that direction with She Who Will Not Be Named and Swiftest of Lizards, just to sort of tie that up and let us know that, oh yes, he can procreate.
I mean, maybe, although I don't know, like, did anybody have huge doubts about that?
Yes, I did in the book.
I don't know. It wasn't something that was, well, no, because he thought that, what's your name's, what the hell is her name? Malva. He thought Malva's baby, he had sex with Malva, and that baby might have been his. He wasn't worried about it then. He was worried that it was his.
And it makes more sense now, too, of why he was so, like, psycho over that, too. Because that might have been his baby, and whoever killed her killed the baby.
Right. I don't even, yeah, that's true. But I mean,
he cared more about that baby, if the possibility of that baby being his, than he did about Malva.
Right.
But I mean, bottom line, I still will never understand if this kid is his. They kicked him out because of not giving her a child. The minute she finds out she's pregnant, and especially the minute she gives birth and the baby's got red hair, go find him.
Ian, to your point, Ian thinks Malva's, I got Malva pregnant, problem solved. I mean, like, he's still upset about it and everything, but like, whatever. Then he finds out the truth. It's her brother's. So now he's doubting again. But that makes sense. The way they do it in the books is that he doesn't have this like cockamamie errand to run or like, message to deliver. He's basically like, yeah, I'll meet you all at Fort Ticonderoga. I gotta see a girl about a thing. I gotta see a girl about a thing. I gotta go somewhere.
I gotta see a man about a horse.
Yeah. he goes of his own free will to talk to her. And that's not what happens in the show. In the show, he's forced to do it because he has to deliver some message. He doesn't want to, tries to get out of it, and then that's it, you know? So I like your idea for the impetus of why he goes to see Emily in the books. He just has to go in the show. So, and that's it.
That's all she wrote.
That's all she wrote. That's it. We have 3 more episodes left. Can you believe it?
Oh my God,
3.
no.
3.
No, I'm freaking
Crazy.
out. I'm freaking out.
Crazy,
Okay.
crazy.
So, we're going to see you guys next week.
Facebook, you guys know where to find us.
TikTok. Follow us on YouTube. We love you.
Oh my God, we didn't say subscribe on YouTube.
All right, well, it's okay. Because
subscribe on YouTube and subscribe and like us on TikTok. We're over 100 followers. Woo! And my_purgatory.com. All useful places. You know the drill. Have a great week, and we will see you next week. Bye.